Baby, bring out that beautiful family member. Count Koren, I'm your host. What do you do when the face of your favorite car show disappears out of the blue? For more than 10 years, Danny Koker was the beating heart of counting cars. Millions of people were moved by his desire to turn rusty cars into works of art. Then, as quickly as his engines started up, the cameras stopped recording. Vans guessed, and headlines muttered about the rumors. But what's the real story? It goes further than drama and makes more noise than rumors. Something changed when they went from the streets of Las Vegas to the back alleys of rock and revival. It wasn't just the paint on the hood either. What did the Count really do? Where did the road take him next? The journey of Danny as a mechanic. Koker became a recognized figure in the world of custom cars not through schooling, but through hard work and a never-ending desire to learn. His father and other relatives worked at Ford, so he grew up in a family with strong ties to the auto business. From a very young age, he was deeply interested in cars, but unlike some people who might go to school for car engineering or get certifications, Koker had to learn his trade the hard way. He learned by watching, then by asking questions, and finally by starting work with the tools and information he had on hand. He was honest and direct in his approach because he was interested and wanted to work things out on his own. That drive became more real for him when he bought his first car, a beat-up 1979 Camaro Z28, when he was a teenager. Koker didn't just fix it up so it could be driven, he took it apart and put it back together piece by piece, turning it into a Can-Am-style street racer. It wasn't just a fix, it was a whole new idea. His real schooling came from doing things, which was much more useful than reading books. Koker often thinks about how helpful it was to break things down and learn from his mistake. He says that the early work he did to fix up this Camaro set the stage for his future success and sparked his love for both driving and changing cars. Even as Koker got better, he still saw each job as a challenge and a chance to try something new. His builds were known for combining great speed with great looks, and soon word about him spread beyond the area. Viewers of Ponstar weren't just watching a mechanic work when they saw how easily he judged cars and knew what they were capable of. They were seeing an artist at work. By the time Counting Cars came out, Koker had not only built high-performance custom cars, but he had also built a brand around innovation, authenticity, and old-school craftsmanship. His lack of official training became a badge of honor, showing what can be done with hard work and passion. These days, Koker is an example for future gearheads who may not have gone to school but have a strong desire to make something important. His journey shows that anyone can be successful at the top of their field if they work hard and are willing to learn from their mistakes. Koker takes on every task with honesty and modesty, whether he's talking about the one car he couldn't save or how he turned a rusty ranchero into a pool table. He is successful not because of his accomplishments, but because of who he is as a person. That's a lesson that will stick with you long after the guidebook is closed. On the other hand, turning tools was just the start. What he did next put him in the public eye. How the Count came to be. Coming to fame for Koker wasn't like most people do, but it was driven by a strong mix of charm, mechanical skill, and a deep love for old cars. Not long before he became famous, he made a name for himself as a regular expert on Rick Harrison's History Channel show, Pawn Stars, where he was asked to value rare and old cars. As the owner of Las Vegas's Count's Customs, Koker's genuine excitement and vast knowledge of cars quickly struck a chord with viewers. Many people became fans of him because of these appearances, which finally caught the attention of network executives who wanted to create a car-themed show with someone who clearly lived and breathed the culture. Early introduction to people across the country set the stage for a much bigger chance. That chance came true in 2012 when Counting Cars came out. The show let viewers see what went on behind the scenes at Count's Customs and showed how Koker and his skilled team turned old, broken down cars into moving works of art. What made the show stand out wasn't just the high-end restorations. It was also the teamwork, creative freedom, and deep respect for craftsmanship that ran through every episode. As the show's executive producer starting in 2014, Koker had creative power over how his shop and team were shown. which made sure that the realness of their work came through. The show's tone was set by his out-of-this-world attitude and way of leading, which made it a favorite among fans of both custom cars and reality TV. Even though it hasn't been on for 10 years, Counting Cars is still one of the best car shows ever on the History Channel. It was seen by millions of people in more than 160 countries, solidifying Koker's position in the business. The show has a lot of different kinds of cars, from hot imports to emotional restorations, to big, amazing custom jobs. Not only did he make a guest appearance as a famous person, but he also did a great musical crossover that combined his love of cars and rock music, which made it even cooler. This show was able to last longer than any other Car Gear series because it was both technically sound and artistically pleasing. When Counting Cars stopped airing regularly in 2021, Koker had already done more than he had hoped. Fans of cars who are going to Las Vegas still want to visit Count's Customs. Koker is also still busy with a number of projects. He has gone back to the garage to do some work by hand. He is still on tour with his rock band Count 77 and running their Las Vegas club, Count's Vampede, with his wife Corey. From being a guest appraiser on a reality show about a pawn shop to becoming an automotive icon, the trip shows that genuine passion and honesty can leave a legacy that lasts far beyond TV. The automotive empire of Danny Koker. It took Danny Koker a long time to build his business. It was made of chrome, grit, and a strong desire to improve the culture of handmade cars. What began as a small shop in the middle of Las Vegas has grown into Count's Customs, a famous place for customs. Millions of people learned about the shop because of his TV fame, but the real growth happened behind the scenes. Koker had a vision that went beyond flashy builds and into the shop's very nature, making it into a place where design, fabrication, and restoration all work together. The goal wasn't just to make cars, but something that would last. He did that too. Count's Customs turned into not only a business, but also a sign of his deeply held beliefs about cars. Many shops owned by celebrities hire outside workers to do their work, but Count's Customs is proud to be self-sufficient. Everything is done in one place, from the metalwork and upholstery to the speed tuning and finish. This kind of full-circle workmanship isn't just about being in charge, it's also about being proud. You can't miss the shop's unique style. Old-school muscle met current style in a way that is both artistic and functional. Their collection includes both museum-quality classics and one-of-a-kind works that are so unique they resist explanation. As a result, a brand that is loved by fans and recognized in the business world. People from all over the world, from the streets of Las Vegas to collectors in other countries, go to Count's Customs to get their ideas for custom cars. Some of the team's skills were shown on the screen, but the real engine of the business is much more powerful. The process, which many would call a complex machine, is what makes great builds possible. It works even when the camera is not rolling. Koker has led the team with faith and freedom, letting each person bring their own style to each project. This mindset has pushed people to think outside the box and given the crew a sense of ownership which has made them loyal and strong. This idea has kept the shop busy long after the show was over. Koker didn't just make work, they made a way of life. That attitude is still a big part of why the shop is so successful today. Count's habits are always changing, even now that he doesn't have the weekly routine that a reality show gave. Although for gearheads visiting Las Vegas, it's still a must-see. It's actually a fully functional workshop that works on both new projects and old ones. Koker is now back in charge of day-to-day tasks, but this time not as a leader, but as a guide and master builder. He is more committed than ever, whether he is overseeing a hard build or talking with a client about the plan for it. He has built a company that stands for more than just a love of engines and exhausts. It stands for honesty, vision, and the idea that quality work is important. This is one of the few things left that is meant to last in a time when fame and fashion change quickly. And passion for collectors. Collecting things isn't just a business ploy for Koker. He has kept more than 100 classic cars and about 70 motorcycles in his personal fleet over the years. It's a big collection that matches many museums. This love isn't based on money or rank, but on a genuine appreciation for the craftsmanship, mechanics, and history of each car. He has talked about his collection as an addiction in talks, such as one with the Las Vegas Review-Journal. Koker's collection, on the other hand, is very personal and shows his unique tastes and emotional connections to automotive past. Most collectors are interested in brand names or resale value. Some of his most prized cars are more important to him than how much they are worth. The most important is a 1966 Shelby GT 350 Mustang that his father gave him. He says that this car made him more determined to restore cars. This car is more than just a prize. It reminds me of my family history and gives me hope. A 1966 AC Cobra that is said to be worth almost $2 million is another star. In his shed, he also has a 1973 Buick Riviera, a 1970 Dodge Coronet, a 1965 Cadillac Fleetwood Brougham, and his first car, a 1979 Camaro Z28 that he turned into a race car that could be driven on the street. The group is always highly regarded, and Koker almost never comes up with a weak addition, though he might add an angle here and there. The highly sought-after 1972 Lamborghini Miura SV is his holy grail. This car used to be known more for its mysterious charm. Without a doubt, his lack of money must not have stopped him from buying the car. Instead, the car's rarity and Koker's love of unique things must have. Just make it harder. Still, the fact that he is searching so quickly makes us sure that he really wants the collection. He also likes cars with weird modifications and repairs, as well as cars that he would personally find very strange. He thinks of collections as experiences that show the possible past of each machine. In contrast to many collectors who hide their items in dark warehouses, Koker thinks that if you own it, it should be seen and run. His cars go in and out of Count's customs a lot to get them refinished or fixed up, so they still work. Some cars are shown off at public events, while others are used to teach or as models for future builds. The cars that are still being fixed up, like his first Camaro, are still very much part of the waiting group. His collection of cars is more than just a sign of wealth. It shows how he is as an artist and a keeper of automobile history. There is a story written in chrome, steel and soul that goes along with every engine turned and every piece of metal fixed up. The band counts 77. Though Koker is best known for building handmade cars, music has always been a big part of his life. He grew up in a musical family, so from a very young age he was exposed to the sounds of classic rock and performing. Daniel Koker Sr., his father, was a skilled baritone who had studied music in the classical style. Koker became interested in music because of his impact. As a child, Koker learned to sing well by singing in the family band. He kept this skill with him into adulthood. Even as he built his auto business, he doesn't just listen to music for fun. As important as the roar of a custom engine, it's a way to express yourself and your art. This love of music for a long time finally led to the formation of Count 77, a hard rock band based in Las Vegas where Koker sings lead. The band looks back to the rock music of the 1970s and 1980s, especially the music of Thin Lizzy, Led Zeppelin, Foghat, and the Allman Brothers. The sound that Koker and his friends, especially guitarists Stoney Curtis and John Zito, made is a mix of tributes and original ideas. Their first record, which came out in 2014 on Shrapnel Records, had bluesy guitar riffs, rough vocals, and raw rock energy. Because Counting Cars was so famous, Count 77 got a lot of attention that not many garage bands will ever get. The band was often on the show, which brought them to the attention of millions of people and helped them gain devoted fans who weren't just car guys. They've played in front of thousands of people at big clubs and motorcycle events all over the country, like in Texas, Colorado, and Mississippi. The same amount of emotion and energy that Koker puts into his work on cars is shown in these shows, not afraid to be loud, honest, and real. The way he mixed his two passions, music and cars, became an important part of his public image and personal brand. Count's Vampid Rock Bar and Grill is a Las Vegas club that Koker and his wife, Corey, own. It blends his two loves of live music and food in one building. The club often has live rock performances and is a hangout for people who like old-school rock and custom cars. Koker is in charge of the vibe and musical integrity, making sure that each act fits with their goal. Corey books the entertainment. It's like Koker's soul is in every part of the place, from the car-themed decor to the bands that play there. He finds it easy to switch between building machines and acting on stage. They both have to do with telling stories, being creative, and telling people about what you love. As Koker rocked the stage, Count's Customs was kept going strong by a different group of stars. This is the Counting Cars team. Even though Koker was the face of Counting Cars, the show's long-term success was due to the skill and chemistry of the people who worked with him. These people weren't just supporting roles. They were skilled workers whose personalities and work made the shop look better. Kevin Mack, who had been Koker's best friend for a long time and was in charge of customs for the Count, was one of the most important. In the chaos of creativity, Kevin brought order and framework. He was in charge of keeping projects on track and within budget, often combining Koker's big ideas with how things could work in the real world. Their relationship was not only fun to watch, but it also showed what made the shop and the show work, driven by real leadership and passion. Shannon Icy was the quiet yet powerful leader of the bike section. He brought a new kind of artistry to the garage. Shannon was the head bike builder and owner of the shop. His bikes were renowned for being both technically perfect and aesthetically pleasing. His accomplishments were not just about mechanics. He also made the team feel like a family by cooking meals or throwing cookouts often, which created a bond that was clear on screen. He was very helpful on and off camera because he could build things and boost mood at the same time. Shannon put his unique style on every motorbike he worked on and pushed the limits of what a custom bike could be. Another fan favorite was Ryan Evans, who was the lead painter and graffiti artist at the workshop. Ryan made important contributions because he painted much bigger pictures than anyone else could. Shannon's introduction made it possible for Ryan to do this. His designs made cars into works of art, and by the time they were shown off for the first time, many of them were better than the cars themselves. When paired with the flashy and creative horny Mike Henry, whose specialty was crazy ideas and his famous horns designs, these also became the style of the shop. People would often be skeptical of Mike's strange ideas at first, but in the end, he was a big winner because Ryan was able to make all of his strange ideas come true. Their partnership was a great example of how imagination can grow when people with different ideas work together. Behind the cameras, there were also important people working, such as the detailer Rolly Sabo and the accountant Scott Jones, who often argued with Koker about how to best control the budget, who became famous for having a strong Hungarian accent and doing perfect work. Every car that went through Count's Customs was cleaned by little Rolly, who really cared about the surface. So quickly leaving the show raised a lot of questions, but every finished build still carried on the Rolly tradition in its shine. In other words, this group was more than just a company. They were an important part of the Count's traditions and how they worked. Every shop's and every person's success story has been built around one person. On the other hand, those stories and success have been stacked against people with different skills who work well together. The cases that changed the Count's ways. Even though Count's Customs has been successful and well-liked, it has not been without debate. 4 years ago, a couple sued the shop, saying that their 1967 Ford Mustang wasn't fixed up or returned as promised. This was one of the first public legal fights. Court documents say that the couple gave the car to Count's Customs so that it could be changed in a way that would meet the standards of the show. Instead, they said that no work had been done and that when they asked for reports, they were given vague ones and told to wait. The lawsuit said the shop broke a contract and asked for money to be paid back. This was one of the first times the shop's image was legally questioned. In 2017, 3 years later, a bigger problem within the company was revealed when former worker Joseph Frontiera was charged with stealing more than $75,000 from the business. Frontiera is accused of using company money for personal things like a down payment on a Range Rover and plane tickets. They also didn't pay the company's salary taxes, which got them an $18,000 fine from the IRS. The charge that he used Koker's signature stamp to fake checks might have been the worst, a clear breach of trust and company policy. The case not only made the team feel bad, but it also made people wonder about who was responsible for what in the shop. Frontiera was sued, and so was the staffing company that recommended him. They were both accused of not telling the truth about Frontiera's past misconduct. Then Koker got into trouble with the law in 2021 when he was charged with a crime for taking a 2008 Cadillac Escalade from a tow yard without permission. Koker broke Nevada law by taking the car, even though he said it was for a friend's good. The car had not been publicly released. At first, the case was a major felony of grand larceny auto, which could lead to jail time. Koker, on the other hand, was able to get a plea deal, having to pay back $25,000, go on probation for 3 years, and do 80 hours of community service. This event got a lot of attention and led to conversations about what it means for a star to be responsible. But this shorter line recognized that Koker was only trying to help and not to get something for himself. You should know that these court cases made life in the back rooms of Count's Customs a lot more complicated. Although the show generally shows unity, creativity, and huge success, these little problems showed the real stresses that come with running a very well-known business. Mistakes in finances, hiring, or even actions that are done with good intentions can have disastrous results in the public eye. It will say a lot about Koker's strength that he can deal with these problems, keep performing, and keep his fans coming back. He also has to run his own shop. These things didn't bring shame to his name. Instead, they became part of his story and reminded his fans that everyone has problems, even the big stars. The important thing is how they handle their problems, the health problem and disappearance of Danny Koker. When Danny Koker suddenly stopped counting cars, fans were shocked, especially since he was such an important part of the show as its heart and moving force. Every show for 10 years had been marked by his commanding presence, contagious energy, and creative direction. So when he quit in 2022, there was a lot of talk about what had happened, ranging from burnout to drama going on behind the scenes. The real reason, though, was much worse. Koker got really sick and couldn't do his job or be in public because he had pneumonia and a heart attack that could kill him. The illness hit him hard and quickly, so he had to cancel all of his plans right away. Koker's state was so bad that people were really worried about whether he would get better. This man had to go through a lot of medical care and a long recovery time, which kept him out of the public eye. People who knew him well said it was one of the hardest times in his life, both physically and mentally. Fans were left to wonder and worry because there were no public announcements at this time. The quick absence also threw off the flow of the show. That's right, Counting Cars quietly stopped making normal cars when Koker wasn't in charge. Behind the scenes, the team and shop kept working, but it was clear that the count was not there. Over time, Koker realized that there were news pieces about him getting better. He did take things slowly and carefully when he first started going out in public again, but he recovered amazingly quickly. After that, he went back to doing some things at Count's Customs, like talking to fans and other people in the new builds and taking on some leading roles at the shop. After that, he didn't have any quick plans to go back to the screen. They wanted Koker to get stronger and more balanced in life instead, which most people thought was a great choice. His gradual return showed that he had grown up. That likely came from his health scare, which made him realize that his health should come before money or fame. Koker's experience has shown a big difference between the health of the bubbly person and the health of a person who is having a health problem. It moved away from TV for everyone, but it hasn't changed because his legacy or effect is still strong. His friends and peers look up to him even more. After that, he spoke out about his health, his family, and his sense of purpose, showing that healing doesn't depend on going back to work, but on changing what matters in that. It's not as important to count cars right now, but Koker's spirit and mission are still going strong at Count's traditions and so going strong at Ombussy, being proof that there is always a way to move on after the worst things happen in life. After coming back from a serious illness that almost killed him, Danny Koker didn't hide from the public. He went back to the worlds that made him who he was with thought and determination. When he got back to Count's Customs, he went back to being a builder and creative boss, showing that his love for fixing up cars hadn't gone away. He's cut down on his media appearances, but he is still very much present in the shop, where he oversees big projects and makes sure that every build has the same level of skill and style that made the brand popular in the first place. He wasn't just coming back, he came back big. It made him think again about what really and figuratively drives him. Once Koker's health got better, he also got back into singing, which was another big love of his. His hard rock band, Count 77, came back to the stage with more energy than ever. They opened for shows like Muscle Cars at the Strip at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway in 2023, which showed that Koker hadn't lost his voice or his ability to connect with fans. With skilled musicians like Stoney Curtis and John Zito on board, the band keeps honoring the best years of rock in the 1970s with their own songs and electric live shows. These shows aren't just short side projects. They're an important way for Koker to express himself outside of the garage and keep his imagination alive. Koker is making a comeback as a musician, and he and his wife, Corey, are very involved in running Count's Vamped Rock Bar and Grill in Las Vegas. This club has live shows and the energy of their edgy brand. Corey takes care of bookings and day-to-day tasks, while Koker helps set the mood musically and changes the bar's image as a safe place for classic rock fans. Count's Vamp ID is more than just a business. It's an addition to Koker's two worlds in terms of culture: good music and unique cars. People from the community, including fans, friends and other musicians, hang out at the venue. This keeps the Koker brand living and relevant outside of TV. The ride gets faster just when you think it's going to slow down. Legacy moving forward. There is a lot more to Danny Koker's impact on car culture than the flashy cuts of reality TV. He has left a heritage that both die-hard gearheads and casual fans can relate to through years of honest storytelling, new builds and hands-on leadership. From his first appearance on Pawn Stars to the end of the 10-season run of Counting Cars, Koker made the art of restoring cars well known. In a way, he became more than just a person. He became a symbol of what it means to build something from the ground up. He is remembered as someone who was creative, strong, and never gave up on their dreams, which makes him one of the most famous people in the world of handmade cars. Count's Customs used to be a private place for hobbies, but now it's a culture center. Even though Counting Cars is over, the garage is still open and making high-end custom cars for collectors, fans and regular users who want something different. Shop's growth is still being led by Koker, who makes sure that it follows current trends while staying true to the old-fashioned values it was built on. The shop's impact can be seen not only in the cars it builds, but also in the customizers who came after Koker and were moved by his story. Koker continues to shape the future of the skill he helped improve through his teaching, public appearances, and use of social media. The brand is no longer just about repair. Koker has moved into the lifestyle area with businesses like Count's Vamped and Count 77, which combine music, hospitality, and car culture into a single brand. He also runs these businesses because he wants to keep rock and roll and car culture alive in a world that is mostly digital and where trends and fads are always changing. He works as a singer, craftsman, and business owner on his own, and he stays grounded in his community and craft. Because he is honest about his business, it has stuck around and had an effect. Thanks for seeing. If you like this movie, please like it, leave a comment with your thoughts and subscribe for more in-depth looks at your favorite car shows and people. Don't forget to press the bell icon so you never miss a message. Also, watch the next movie on your screen before you leave. Don't miss it.